The classification trial ended at dusk, and Ironspire Hunter Academy's ranking hall was still lit when the Iron Pact tore up their contract. 800 students watched. The hall's ranking board was still glowing, fresh results, still warm, and Tarek Vale's name sat at the very bottom of it. Null Shadow, the only score the system had no rank category for. Not F-class, not provisional, not even a meaningful number. Just 2 words that meant the system had looked at him, measured everything it could find, and written nothing. Captain Bren Kale didn't even look at him when he did it. Just unfolded the squad contract, the Iron Pact's contract, the one with all 5 signatures including Tarek's, the one they'd signed together at the start of the year, and tore it cleanly down the middle. Once, twice. Let the pieces fall to the floor between them. Dead weight, Bren said. Not loud. He didn't need loud. The hall was silent enough that every syllable landed. The 4 other members of the Iron Pact stepped back. Not dramatically. Just a small, coordinated movement. The kind that said we are not associated with this. Tarek looked at the pieces of paper on the floor. Then he looked up. He didn't say anything. The Academy board met the next morning. They were brief. Provisional null, they called his new designation. The lowest classification a licensed hunter could hold, while technically still holding a license. No guild eligibility. No ranked floor clearance. No combat assignments. They handed him a porter's dungeon key and a reassignment slip that said, Level 1 Retrieval Corridor. Solo. No team. No escalation path listed. He took the key. He left. The Iron Pact got a new 5th member by noon. A B-class shadow type named Heron, fast and polished. The kind of addition that made Bren's unit look stronger on paper. The Academy posted the updated squad ranking by the end of the day. Iron Pact, 3rd in the Academy. A clean, tidy number. Tarek's porter assignment started at 6 in the morning. Level 1, Retrieval Corridor. 2 hours down and 2 hours up, hauling loot crates for the guilds that couldn't be bothered to send their own. The dungeon paid him in carry fees. It wasn't enough for much. He ate simply, slept simply, and did not speak about the classification trial to anyone who asked. It was on his 4th day in the corridor that the system spoke for the first time. He was deep in the passage. Level 1, subsection 9, a stretch the ranked hunters avoided because the return gradient was poor, when a pair of C-class hunters came through fast, running a skill drill. One of them threw a pressure strike at a corridor target. A clean ranked technique, timed and sharp. It passed 3 meters from Tarek, and he felt it. Not the impact, not the pressure wave. He felt the space after it, the quarter-second gap between the strike's leading edge and its trailing decay. A window, thin as a breath. In that window, the striker was committed, extended, open, and didn't know it. Tarek stopped walking. He read it twice. Then he looked at where the C-class hunters had gone. They were already around the corner, laughing about something, completely unaware. He shouldered his crate and kept walking. That was how it started. Not with a ceremony, not with a system message that called him chosen or destined or anything at all. Just a number. 0.3. And a corridor he had to himself. He kept the porter assignment. He asked for longer routes. Subsections 11 through 14. The deep gradient runs that no one else wanted. They gave him the routes without question. A provisional null carrying crates deeper than most B-class hunters cleared didn't register as a threat. It registered as eccentric, maybe desperate. He let them think that. The interval debt moved slowly at first. Every time a ranked hunter discharged a technique near him, in the corridor, in the transit lanes, in the pre-clearance chambers where guilds ran warm-up drills before descending, the number climbed. 3 became 4. 4 became 19.1. 19 became 63. He started choosing his porter routes based on foot traffic rather than crate volume. Busy corridors, lanes where guild teams ran combat drills, the subsections near the ranked clearance chambers, where S-class hunters sometimes trained. He was not in a hurry. He had nothing else to be doing. 2 months after the classification trial, he ran the Level 7 retrieval loop, a route marked restricted, accessible to porters only with signed guild waiver. He got the waiver, he went in. The guild team that had requested the retrieval was a mid-tier B-class unit, and they were running a live combat drill in the upper section of the loop, when Tarek arrived to collect their haul. He watched them for a moment, saw the intervals immediately. Every technique had one. A gap between commit and decay. A window, where the striker was opened up and didn't know it. B-class hunters had wide intervals. Sloppy timing. Beautiful debt. He collected the crates and went home. The Iron Pact was on level 9 by then. Bren had pushed hard for a ranked floor escalation, and the Academy had approved it. Their new B-class shadow type, Heron, was clean and fast and well-regarded. The unit was rising. Tarek saw their clearance reports posted in the common hall sometimes. He didn't avoid them, didn't seek them out. They were information, nothing else. By the 4th month, he was running level 12 retrieval solo. No guild team requested level 12 retrieval via porter. There was no such listing. He created the route himself, submitted the paperwork to the logistics office as a capacity expansion proposal, and a board administrator stamped it approved without reading it carefully. Level 12 was where the ranked hunters stopped going alone. Tarek went alone. Every day. He stopped counting the days after that. He stopped thinking about the torn contract on the ranking hall floor, the way Bren's voice had landed in the silence, the 4 steps backward his former squad members had taken. He thought about intervals, about the geometry of the gap, about what it meant to move in the space that ranked combat left behind, the shadow of every technique, the one place no trained hunter ever thought to occupy, because no trained hunter had ever needed to. He thought he was beginning to understand why the class was sealed, not because it was weak, because it was the wrong shape for someone who had something to lose. He let it fill quietly, walking a level 12 subsection on a Tuesday morning with a half-empty crate on his back, while a guild team ran a technique drill 40 meters ahead of him and had no idea he was there. He read it standing in the middle of a level 12 corridor, crate at his feet, the guild team's technique echoes still bouncing off the walls ahead. He picked up the crate. He finished the route. The grand trial was 6 weeks away when he submitted his re-entry application to the Academy Board. Solo division. No unit affiliation. The form had a field for current classification. He wrote provisional null, because that was what the board had on file. He submitted it without notes. The board approved it on the last day of the application window, almost certainly without anyone reading the name. The grand trial ran 3 brackets: guild units, solo division, and academy squads. The arena was Ironspire's main clearance chamber, a scaled combat space, full broadcast, results posted live to the Academy's ranking board. 8,000 students, faculty, and affiliated guild observers watched from the upper decks. The Iron Pact drew bracket 7 in the squad division. Tarek drew bracket 3 in solo. Different bracket, different time. But the arena was shared. The board that posted results was the same board, visible to everyone in the chamber for the full duration of the event. He arrived early, sat in the preparation tunnel, and listened to the chamber fill up, heard the announcer run through the squad brackets, heard bracket 7 called, heard the Iron Pact's entry announced, heard the crowd's recognition, a solid mid-tier cheer, the kind a third-ranked unit earns. He didn't move from the tunnel until bracket 3 was called. He stepped into the arena without a team, without a guild banner, without an affiliation marker on his registration card. The announcer read his name once. Tarek Vale, solo, provisional null. The crowd didn't respond. No cheer, no murmur, nothing. Just a moment of absence, and then the announcer moving on. The solo bracket format was simple. A timed dungeon simulate, solo clearance, ranked on speed and technique execution. Most solo participants were A-class or above. Tarek was the only provisional null in the bracket. The guild observers in the upper decks noted it as a curiosity. The academy students who noted it as someone who had clearly misread the application form or didn't understand the entry requirements. The board registered it as noise. He stepped into the simulate. The gate closed behind him. He didn't use technique. He didn't need to. Void Step let him move inside the intervals of the simulate's generated hunters, the chamber's AI opponents, which were built on ranked hunter combat data and had the same intervals any trained hunter produced. He moved through them, not around them. Through the gaps they didn't know they were leaving. He arrived at each clearance checkpoint before the AI models registered that his position had changed. He finished the simulate in 11 minutes. The chamber's benchmark for top-tier A-class was 14. The board posted his bracket result before anyone had fully processed what they were seeing. A ripple went through the upper decks, confused, not yet fully formed. The announcer stumbled on the time figure and read it again to confirm. That was when the squad finals were beginning. The Iron Pact entered the arena for their Bracket 7 final. Bren Kale at the front, the four others behind him, including Heron, polished, sharp, a clean unit. They were sharp and composed, and had no reason to look at the solo division board. Until a faculty member tapped Bren on the shoulder and pointed. Bren looked at the board. Read the name. Read the time. Stood very still for a moment, then turned toward the preparation tunnel. Tarek was still in the arena. He hadn't left. There was no rule requiring him to. He was standing at the edge of the clearance space. Coat on, crate nowhere. He'd left it in the tunnel, watching the squad final setup with the same calm expression he'd had in the ranking hall 6 months ago. Bren crossed the arena floor. Around them, the setup crew paused. The upper decks went quiet, not all at once, but in a spreading wave, section by section, as people began to understand that something was happening on the arena floor that wasn't on the schedule. "Veil," Bren said. Tarek looked at him. Bren had a ranked technique. His signature strike, a shadow compress, mid-tier A-class. He'd used it in every grand trial for 2 years. The chamber knew it. The crowd knew it. He discharged it now. Not full power, not an attack. Just a demonstration. A pointed pressure wave aimed at the ground between them. It hit the interval. The technique crumpled. Not blocked, not countered. It simply ceased at the point of origin. A clean, total collapse. As if the discharge had never happened. The space between them was completely undisturbed. Silence. The board posted it. The whole arena board. Every screen in the chamber. Not just Tarek's bracket result, his classification update, the one that had been pending since the threshold hit 6 weeks ago, finally triggered by the first live combat interval sealed in open arena. Tarek Veil. Interval sovereign. Unclassifiable, / above shadow. The upper decks didn't cheer. They didn't know what to do with it. 8,000 people read the same words at the same time, and produced a sound that was not a cheer, and not silence. Something between them. Something the chamber had never generated before. Bren Kale's knees hit the arena floor. Not slowly. Not with ceremony. Just the weight of what he'd seen removing the option of staying upright. His shadow compress, the technique that had defined him for 2 years, the technique that had anchored the Iron Pact's ranked standing, had been erased in front of everyone, at the source, without contact. The 4 members of the Iron Pact behind him did not kneel, but none of them moved. Tarek looked at Bren on the floor, then at the board, then at the preparation tunnel. He picked up his coat collar against the arena's air circulation, turned, and walked back toward the exit. The Academy Board formally rescinded the provisional null designation before the grand trial results were processed. It was administrative procedure. A classification that no longer matched the system's posted data couldn't remain on record. The new field read what the board had never written for anyone: interval sovereign, unclassifiable. They sent a formal notice to his Porter assignment address. He was already gone. He had a level 14 route to run in the morning, and the system's interval debt counter had reset to 0 the moment he'd sealed Bren's technique. He had a long way to go before the next threshold. He was not in a hurry. He had nothing else to be doing,